Women disrespect men in a lot of ways that sometimes y'all don't know that a man feel disrespected. When you correct your man in front of a room full of people, you just disrespecting him, emasculating him, and shrink him as a man.
Ooh,
and he might not say nothing, he might not even have the words, or he might be smart enough to not make a bigger scene, but you do not never do that. And that's one of the things I've seen women do, and I'm like, it makes everybody else with the high IQ, it makes us uncomfortable when we see you do that. When you talk to your man crazy or use a certain tonality to speak with him, it makes men with a certain intellectual and an emotional IQ, it makes us uncomfortable. Women who do that, a man doesn't feel respected.
When a man wants to get married, he's only getting married truly for one reason. Because let me be honest with you women, the men can work and provide for themselves. He does not necessarily need you to cook, clean, and have sex, because he can get sex from multiple women. They're giving it out. A lot of them can cook and clean. Their mother taught them, or they can pay someone to get it. The culture is telling them, do not get married. So why would a man go past what the culture is telling him and choose to have a wife? Because with a wife, you can now have love, you can now have nurturing, you can have support, you can have affection. This is what he can't get from a roommate. So if that is not what you're leading with in your relationships with men, is love, support, nurturing, and respect, this is why your husband is now pulling away, because in the beginning you gave him those things. But as you got into the relationship, you got bitter, you got resentful, you start seeing his flaws, start counting that against him, you start measuring him against other men, and now you're pulling back on the love, the affection, and the nurture.
Men are not intimidated because you make money, sis. They're not intimidated. They don't want to deal with your attitude. They're not intimidated. They don't want to deal with you. Women think it's attractive to be a lot to handle. No, grow up. You are a burden.
The really emotionally connected woman who's super loyal and super loving, she can't be with a man who's super busy. She can't do it. She's too anxious. She misses him too much. She needs him home all the time. She needs predictability. She needs stability. She wants a home. She wants you to help her put the kids to bed at night. Whereas the woman that's like, yeah, you can go on business trips for a couple of months. Yeah, you know, I'll see you when I see you. She tends to be a bit more emotionally detached. So what happens is that man ends up not having his emotional needs met at work, and sometimes they can be missed at home as well.
I look at women as tape, okay? And what I mean by this is that when you take a piece of tape, right? And from the beginning, you take it off the roll and you put it on the table, it's very sticky, right? The first time you attach it on. But then when you pull it off and put it back on again, it becomes less and less sticky the more times you do that. Okay. So the more surfaces you put the tape on, the less sticky it becomes. When women are sex workers, they effectively have no stickiness left. They're able to jump from guy to guy, different surface to different surface, and they're no longer a good partner. And a piece of tape that isn't durable and can stand on the table is useless. It can't hold what I call a relationship together. So when a woman effectively sells herself and she becomes this tape that's been used everywhere, the stickiness is gone, and that is her most important asset.
So I've been seeing this guy for about 3 months now, and although we spend a lot of time together, we both decided that we don't want a relationship or anything too serious. So recently, one night after he drank a little bit, he might have slipped up and told me that he loved me.
What were y'all doing when he told you he loved you?
Well, we might have been in the process of getting into something.
Every man in this room has said that at a particular time.
Right?
It doesn't mean that we love you. What it means is we love what's happening right now. And since it's happening with you, then hell, you it. Ask him one day, just say, can I ask you a question, just hypothetical? How would it make you feel if you never saw me again?
This girl at work said something to me the other day, and I can't get it out of my head. Heard a baby around her. I was like, oh God, that's free birth control for me. And she's like, oh, that makes me think of my little baby. And I was like, yeah, I'm too selfish. I don't want kids. I have a dog. That's enough for me. A couple of days later, she's like, so you don't want kids, but you have a dog. Do you have a boyfriend or anything? And I was like, no, I've never had a boyfriend. She was like, how old are you? And I said, 27. She's like, and you've never had a boyfriend? And I like never really cared, but there's something about her like saying that really hit me this time, because like I've never been on even like 2 dates with the same person. Like even guys I've talked to or like hooked up with, they'll slowly stop talking to me, and then I find out they have a girlfriend or they get into a new relationship like a week later. And like when I was younger and I didn't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I'd be like, it's because I'm fat. I used to weigh like 320 pounds. I lost 160 pounds. It's not like I'm being hit up every day, every week, even every month with like people in my DMs or like messaging me on Snapchat trying to get with me. It's like no one hits me up. It's not even like I'm being selective with who I'm picking and like turning people away. It's just like people aren't coming up to me, and I don't understand. Not like I have an issue with people like wanting to hook up with me, but if it tries to go a step further, they're like, absolutely not, no. I don't want to just like hook up with random people that I don't know, so I'll tell people that I don't want to hook up with them until I know them, and then they're like, well, you're a prude. I'm like, I literally can't win. Why it's like hitting me so hard this time is the fact that she had the audacity to ask by choice, and I just sit there and I'm like, no, it's not by choice. When I was younger, I was like, oh, it's because I'm fat. Oh, it's because I'm fat. Once I lose weight, I'll have no problem. And now that I'm like not fat, I'm just like, what is it? What is the reason? So now I'm gonna finish my energy drink and hit the gym until I can't feel my emotions anymore. Maybe that's the reason.
The other thing a woman doesn't want, and no men really want to have around either, is a man who's actually weak and unskilled, who pretends to be moral and kind, not only to cozy up to women, but also to parade his weakness as moral virtue. You know, I'm not the mean guy, I'm not the bad guy. Well, the reason for that is you're too goddamn weak to manage that. And instead of just admitting that forthrightly and doing something about it, you parade it as a moral virtue.
Society places a high value on women's relationships and family, leading to societal pressure and fear of being alone. This expectation is reinforced by media portrayals that emphasize the need for romantic relationships, suggesting that being alone is undesirable. This cultural narrative is deeply rooted in historical norms where marriage and family were seen as the primary indicators of a woman's success and identity. Despite progress in gender equality, these traditional views persist, influencing how women perceive their self-worth and life goals. The fear of being alone is not just about being without a partner, but also about feeling inadequate or incomplete in the eyes of society. This deeply ingrained cultural bias impacts women's mental and emotional well-being, making the prospect of being alone more daunting. Women who have experienced trauma or abandonment in past relationships often have a heightened fear of being alone, as it represents not just loneliness, but a sense of failure or inadequacy. Long-term relationships also make the fear of being alone more pronounced for many women, as they are dealing with the immediate emotional impact of their past experiences and the uncertainty and challenges of forging a new path on their own. This complex interplay of past and present anxieties contributes to a pervasive fear of solitude, making the prospect of being alone significantly more intimidating. And that concludes today's discussion on MGTOW voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.